Hello and welcome back to Core Digest. I am Oyin Priye Krumale. Core Digest is racing you live from Lagos. And Core TV News. 100 days in office has become a convention among Nigerians in which they measure the improvement, or will I say the performance of the state chief executives. Of course, in Kwara State, we don't know what Abdulrahman Abdulrazak is doing yet. We're here to have a public opinion about his performance so far. In Imo State, the governor, Emeka Iheju, has actually given himself a pass mark. Of course, we have the sympathizers of the administration and the non-sympathizers of the administration taking their various positions. In Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu has equally been weighed in the eyes of the public and how he is performing in Lagos and how he intends to do that. The prospective performance or being effective in the execution of executive powers, most especially that should translate into physical infrastructural development and of course employment for the teeming Nigerians and Lagosians. The eyes are on Mr. President. It's 100 days in office. What is your take? Well, we are going to be discussing that this morning, and I have in the studio with me a very wonderful guest. His name is Tunji Abdulhameed, and he's a practitioner. Good morning, Mr. Tunji.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes. Well, this issue about 100 days in office and Nigerians and looking at the chief executives of their respective states. However, our focus is on Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari. How would you evaluate his performance so far?
I think 100 days will be too small to evaluate any government, sincerely. But it may not be too small when it comes to the presidency.
Okay.
In the sense that it's a continuity. He spent the last 4 years as the president, and he's continuing from where he stopped. For me, I've not seen much change as regard what happened the last 4 years. So I have not seen much achievement regarding the presidency.
Okay. Now, with regards to that, one of the things that could be adjudged from that perspective could also be linked with Mr. President's new cabinet, still relatively new, and their respective capacities and the tendency of those persons to perform and to transform their respective ministries. Which of them caught your attention, and what are your expectations in regards to that?
With due respect to the right of the president to appoint the ministers, I think as far as I'm concerned, I have issues with some of the people put in position.
Okay.
Not because they are not competent, not because they are not qualified, not because they are not there, but some of them are put in the position where some of them have even confirmed it, that I know nothing about this ministry. You can't put somebody in a ministry where he knows nothing about. When we have people who knows much about that ministry, when appointing ministers, you should put name down based on what you want to use them for. This person is good for this, is good for that. It's not when you, after nominating them, you'll now be looking at where do we put this, where do we put that. I think most of them have not been properly fixed as far as I'm concerned. Most of them are not put in the area where they can properly do much, and it will be a good disservice to the nation in that regard. I have not seen much from them. They are just, some of them are still learning.
Okay.
Some of them have just resumed in their respective offices. Some of them are still looking at the books to know what and what to do. So they've not done much in this regard. But like your question goes, the major area of eye in the country are those ministries that has to do with power.
Okay.
Energy. And when I talk about energy, I'm talking about the petroleum and the resources and all those things.
Okay.
We're talking about road construction and all those things. Those ministers in those areas will be properly, satellite will be on them, and I expect them to do more. Yes, Raji Fashola in charge of work and housing. The last 4 years, probably because he was handling the three portfolio at that time, I didn't see much regarding those things that he was giving. The another area, the petroleum resources.
Okay.
I think the person that was put in place in that as a Minister of State, Mr. President is the Minister of
Minister of Petroleum.
And I'm worried that Mr. President still retain that position, because in the last 4 years, I don't know what the president done. I did not see much from the presidency regarding petroleum industry.
Okay.
So I was expecting that this time around the president will put somebody else who will be fully in charge, who knows about
and will not be distracted.
Who knows about this area, who has experience in this regard, because you can't be using our ministry as a learning point. It's not a place to learn. It's a place to give what you know.
Okay, Barrister Abdulhameed, if I should come in here, don't you think when we come about the issue of corruption, which is one of the cardinal points or cardinal objective of Mr. President in fighting corruption, that ministry seemed to be a racketeering ministry where persons seem to take advantage of. And Mr. President, in his bid to tame corruption, the hydra-headed monster, seemed to occupy the position of Minister of Petroleum Resources. Don't you think that would be one of the instruments in which to stem the tide of corruption taking place in that ministry?
How many corrupt tendencies have we seen since in the last 4 years that the president has been the Minister of Petroleum? I've not heard of any corrupt cases unraveled by the president. I've not seen any. I think the issue of corruption, trying to fight corruption, the president cannot be everywhere. The president should be able to focus on the role of the president is to supervise, look at all of them and see what they are doing. That should be the role of the president, and not taking a responsibility of being a minister. He won't be able to concentrate in that particular area where it's given, because he has so many other responsibility that he needs to attend to. So I was expecting that, like I said earlier on, that they will hand over the Ministry of Petroleum to somebody else, so that we'll be able to concentrate on his other areas. The major cardinal campaign policy principle of APC was corruption, security, and
job employment.
So far, I've not seen much difference in what.